Yes, people, welcome. Welcome back to BBK Sports for another live stream on. So, this is my second stream on July 6th, 2025. And a lot changes in a couple hours from my midnight stream to my morning stream. The internet's going crazy. And we always urge calm. Yeah. We always urge calm in the storm because you know how our fan base are and you know how the internet can be, right? So, there's a lot of news broke overnight with Gyokeres. Absolute madness, absolute mayhem. But it's not just me today, people. I am joined by leader or the winner of the Premier League, man like Yudi from Loudmouth Football, Liverpool fan, Liverpool extraordinaire is here to help me talk all
Yeah.
things transfer as he looked down on us from the top of the table like peasants in this world of football. Man like Yudi, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I am well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
That was quite the introduction. I'll give you that.
yeah. No, because Liverpool fans are the envy of all of us right now. To be fair, it's
Yeah.
we really envy you, man. The way your club is moving, and the way your fan base is united. It's in a jealous form of way. It's nice to see. It's nice to see, and it's. I don't think I've ever seen this with Liverpool in a long time, especially not since the social media era where the fan base is so united and moving as a unit. So yeah,
Yeah.
big up to Liverpool and big up to all the fans, man.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And you man won the league title, dunked on us, and didn't even banter us too tough because you man could dunk on us really, like as
Not
loud
this
as our
season, I
fan
think.
base is, and you came and just walked the league and just you know.
Yeah, but not this season, I think. I think it'll be difficult for us this season, maybe. Even last season was kind of unpredictable, right? We didn't see it coming the way it went.
Yeah. So let's get straight into it, man. Like I know you men had a rough week. Um it's a sensitive issue, but you do have a football club to run and a business to run, right? As as
Correct.
as a franchise. Um Liverpool, you men were linked with a striker before the tragedy, right? Or linked with shipping Nunes out. How has that changed for you?
That's an interesting question. In fact, I've tried stirring this conversation up with a couple of Liverpudlians, uh, Scousers, local over there. They're not interested in talking about this right now.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so that's the fixation that I'm really on right now is what are we going to do ahead? So I think that's a really good question. I think Nunez is still going to get out of the club. I think it's going to be either a Saudi or a Italian project, in my opinion. I think it's going to be, and we might just get in an Ekiteke or an Isak. I don't see an Isak happening right now, but I think we are going to through a pretty heavy challenge, with Jota's demise. Um, so I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I might have to think over it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you?
You've put me in a tough spot, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, I hear it, but I'm looking at it from a standpoint of I just alluded to how united the fan base is and how they're moving. Do you? And Isak or another blockbuster signing that would do wonders for the fan base, man. Like that's how you uplift a bunch that got punched in the mouth the hardest way,
Yeah.
due to circumstances that they couldn't control. And I think it would be a massive signing. And I've said this before you might even won the league. Like if next year if Liverpool sign Isak then and re-sign Mo Salah, we could be in some serious trouble. Because then, you know, I don't think Mo Salah. I think Mo Salah gets 20 assists if he has that guy, making runs off of him easily. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
think I think the situation with Mo Salah is, this is something which I think I am on. I have quite a different approach when it comes to thinking about footballers in the club, right? Like when you talk about Mo Salah, he does have those moments where he does struggle in
Mhm.
being continuous. Like I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
In a game of 90 minutes,
Yeah.
if the guy is scoring a goal or two, right? Um, he still seems a bit underwhelming in a way because he has 10, 12 chances altogether in 2 games, and he's just coming out with a goal or two. Like this might seem a bit too overcritical, but this is the truth. and it's been a recurring theme since the last 3-4 seasons.
Mm,
And you have to, applaud the foundation for the way they've worked. The defense, the midfield, I think they are pulling the strings really well.
yeah.
And I think Liverpool as a club, you're right. We are working really well as a unit right now. Even the fan base has been quite supportive.
Hmm.
If you see someone being overcritical about Salah, they lose. They get a fuse, man. They lose it. Yeah, it's a sensitive topic right now, especially with Diogo Jota.
Yeah.
What happened with him? But this conversation needs to happen. Who is going to back Salah up? Because I don't think he's going to be the same striker um, of the years. He's not going to come up with 20, 25, 30 goals this season. I'm just being
Mm,
trying to be a little more cautious with this approach. I'm not expecting something big from him.
mm,
There will be a point in time when he's going to stop performing. He's turning 34,
yeah.
right? And this is from my experience with the club, with the professionals who played with the club. Um, they will stop clicking at some point in time. So just we need to sign big players now. Like we've already been doing with the Works, with the Fringpongs, you know. Um, so yeah, I mean, we still need more players, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it. Big up to everyone watching. Big up to all 14 of y'all watching. Big up to the chat. Get to the comments in the section. But while I have Yudi here, I got to pick his brain, because he's a busy man and I know it. So, I do think Mo Salah has another big year in him, at least one more. And by big year, I'm talking about not by his standards, but by just Premier League goal scoring standard. I think he hits 20 goals next year again. I don't think he hits it as
Yeah.
easily as he did last year, but I think he hits 20 goals this season coming up. But you won the league. And so far, I can make the argument that you're winning the transfer window. But what I want to ask you is, based on what you've done in the window and based on what Man City have done in their window, who do you think has had the better window, you or City?
See, this is the thing. We were forced to get these signings in a way. Imagine if a Robertson and a Trent were working out really well for Liverpool right now. Do you think we'd be going for Gyokeres and Frimpong?
I think you would. I think you've been working on getting a replacement for Robo for a while. Because I
Yeah.
remember Klopp even tried Simicast there for when Robo was out of form.
Yeah, my point is that FSG were forced to get these signings, right?
Mm,
See, I seem a bit too pessimistic about this, but I'm not. I'm just being realistic. City got these players just to add more depth to their squad. They don't need these players. They've
mm,
got the Fodens, they've got a Bernardo Silva, they've got a Haaland. Sure, KDB just departed, but they don't need to replace him right now. They have a Grealish. They've got enough quality in that squad, right? For Liverpool, we were forced. We needed these signings, so we had to get them.
mm.
Without these signings, 25, 26 would have been a shit season, in short, right?
You think
And the
you?
only thing I think from an outsider's perspective, you might think, oh wow, Liverpool just signed the biggest player in the universe, in the multiverse. Uh, what? I think that this is what we needed, and we need more players.
Mm,
For the number 9, for the defense, you don't know what the situation is with Konate. You don't know what is going to happen with the midfield, because what I saw after 18 games last season was a physically exhausted, a taxed out Liverpool. Game
mm,
on game. PSG, both legs, Carabao Cup, finale. It was a shit show. Honestly, it was a shit show. And you know what? Liverpool fans, they try to coax it up by saying, oh, the managers just having a debut, a season. This is the first season with Liverpool. Just give him some leeway. It doesn't really work like that. It doesn't work like that.
mm,
Yeah. So I think Man City in a way. I really like Tijani Reindeers, right?
mm.
And Ryan Cherky, bro. You add these two together, you get a sense of maturity from that squad, right? For Liverpool, I'm not saying they won't work. They'll work. But this is what we needed, right? They didn't need that shit. They didn't need the Johnny Reindeers and
Yeah,
Turkey. Let's be honest about that, right? Yeah.
yeah. It's an interesting one, but I do think, like, I'm looking at this through Arsenal lenses, right? And I don't believe if Arsenal had won the league the way Liverpool won it, I don't think we'd go out and sign a Florian Wirtz. I don't think we would have done that. I think our fan base would have been okay. McAllister is good enough. Szoboszlai is good enough. Gravenberch would be good enough. And then we go sign a backup to them. You men went and signed a level raiser. Like this guy starts for most teams, right? So now, even now, when we'll get to Arsenal in a minute, but we're supposed to be upgrading, and then we're looking at Chelsea and we're taking players that they're pushing out their project. You know, like Verts wasn't pushed out of Leverkusen. You man pried him away. But I'm like, no, our midfield is sound, but this guy improves us to a whole nother level because we know what we're competing against over there with Randers and Bernardo Silva and the Ballon d'Or winner who's coming back into their midfield. So yeah, I mean, I think City fans are very happy with their window. I think you men are very happy with the window you're having, and I wish another jealousy take. I wish that I could feel this way and participate in the conversation like we're having a banging transfer window. But speaking of banging transfer window, it seems as though Arsenal are
you're being too generous, is what it is.
Huh?
Honestly, you guys are moving big now. You guys are moving big. Yeah.
I don't really. I can't call it big when we're still dumpster diving over at West London, and I just But the fan base seemed to have a. And I see a big up to the Waffle Dine. He said I'm smiling this morning because of the Gyokeres news. The thing about the Gyokeres / Sesko news for me, it's confusing. It confuses me because the juggling between Sesko, Gyokeres, with the undecisiveness tells me that we're not sure about what we're doing. And if you don't have a clear plan, if you're just winging it, that tells me you're just relying on luck. You're hoping the chips fall your way. And we can't afford to do that when we're competing with you, man, or Man City. So I was worried, and my only position was if it's Sesko is your man, go get him so we can get embedded in the squad. If Gyokeres is your man, you go get him so he can get embedded in the squad. Now, from a neutral standpoint, you're outside looking in. Do you think that Zubememdi announced Gyokeres in our front line? It seems like Gyokeres is going to be the guy now, unless something else changes in this crazy window. How big of a transfer do you think that is? Do you think this is a needle mover that puts us anywhere close to you or City?
I think even for Arsenal, these players are needed, right? And it's not just the players, bro. I think you had ample opportunities to win a trophy. I would say a trophy because you had a good shot at the Champions League too, and I won't lie about it. I think, don't mean to sound too pessimistic about this again, but then I think Arteta needs to improvise a bit on his tactics when it comes to the vertical side of playing football, bro. Move the ball a bit quicker. The coaches need to get this ticking, right? Like the players are following what the coach is instilling on the pitch. And it's clear because, and of course, Arteta was pretty good back in 2022-23 when I saw him with Xhaka the season before he departed. You guys were relentless, right? Yeah. And even Martinelli that season was working out pretty well for you guys.
Yeah, that was his best season, yeah.
Yeah, but for Gyokeres and for Zubememdi, I think this is the right time for them to come. This is like probably Arteta's last shot in the transfer window, right? He might get another season. You never know. You never know the owners. Yeah, he might get another season if he still finishes second. But I think people are starting to realize that Arteta is running out of time, is what it is. And these signings, trust me, Zubememdi is a quality player. Now it's up to Arteta how he really takes the most out of him. And Arteta has personal relations with his agent. I think he's pretty close to him. So there are some ties with even Sociedad and Arsenal being pretty close when it comes to exchanging players. You've had the likes of Montreal in the past, right? And even Marino came from there and a couple of other players too. So
Odegaard was going on loan as well.
And honestly, I think today is the best day for Arsenal fans in a way. This season, for sure. I think 2025 and 2025, this has to be the best day for you guys. Gyokeres is hell-bent on joining you all, right? Even though we had the likes of Benjamin Sesko, that prospect was also in the works. But I don't even know what is really happening over there. Yeah.
What I think is, speculating, I think Arteta really wanted Sesko. I think that's why it took this long. He really wanted Sesko. You have a sporting director who's looking at at the club as a whole and looking at the money that you would pay for Sesko versus the money that you would pay for Gyökeres versus the stages of their development. And that the people who are on Arteta's side and wanted Sesko, one of the talking points they were using was he's younger and all this other stuff, when I'm of the opinion that we need to win now. And then they spoke of Gyökeres like he was an old man. Like, brother, he's 27. He's not 37. He's 27. Benjamin White is 27. No one talks about him being an old man. You know, but because it was a player that the manager liked, it was, oh, he is older. Okay, get me some experience in the squad. But I don't want youth FC, kindergarten FC. Like, we need some experience in the squad. The stuff that Gyökeres can, Sesko needs to develop, we don't have that time, right? And we talk about that there is Premier League adjustments. Like you just said, Arteta has one more season, so he needs a guy who with a little bit of a little more experience, some more striker's instinct that you develop over time that enabled you to score 39 goals in the Portuguese La Liga.
What about the bros in the chat? What do they feel about Arteta? Are they Arteta in, or
like these guys in the chat? Oh, this the Latvian Guna, he hates Arteta more than I do.
Yeah,
the Waffle Down wants some. Like, yeah, this chat is a fully Arteta out chat.
Yeah, I think you guys are gonna get pretty well with Ligun or.
Yeah, we're on that side of the fence. We just believe that he has been given enough time. We believe that there are managers in the world who have been sabotaged, who haven't been given time, players, or money. Arteta is not one of them. He's been given time, he's been given money, he's been given his own players. So on this side, we just feel like he's been given a fair shake, and it's time for us to give someone else a chance. Because if I ask you, Yudi, do you think Thomas Tuchel is a better manager than Vincent Kompany?
Yeah, I think so.
I think exactly. Yeah, I think so. And they fired him and gave someone else a chance. Because and then someone else came in and won the and on the course of merit, Vincent Kompany does not deserve that. That's the biggest job in Germany. He doesn't deserve it. Man, you relegated Burnley. You don't have the qualification. Based on your CV, you didn't qualify for that job, but they gave someone else a chance. So at Arsenal Football Club,
I just want to add something to this though. Like it might be a momentary thing, right? But what Kompany has done in the game against PSG, I don't know if you saw that, the Club World Cup, right?
I saw it.
In the last 1.5 years, I have never seen a team subduing PSG to that extent in the first half. Like, PSG are a team that are like a bunch of Terminators, bro, walking on the pitch, right? And as soon as Dembele came on the pitch in the 70th minute, the aura changed altogether, right? So my point is that I, in fact, lauded him for the way he actually tactically tried to work the team out. And they were pressing really well in the first half against PSG. But yeah, I mean, it's just a small instance which I wanted to share because you're right. Overall, when it comes to merit, Kompany is not up there.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he'll probably get there one day, but someone took a chance on him and gave him a chance. And I think we need to give someone else a chance because we've given Arteta plenty of chances, is what I'm saying. Big up to the Waffle Down. My brother says it's also about who we get out of the club. Berta is doing okay so far, expecting Eze and Rod soon. Now, Eze, the Eze thing is, now the talk around Madueke for me is Eze should, that talk and that energy should be on Eze. Like if Madueke was a last day deadline deal, backdoor deal like Sterling was, maybe I can get with it. But it seems as if the energy has been focused on Madueke as if he is the primary target. If the energy right now was around Eze the way it's around Madueke, I'd be calm. Right? Because we clearly need more creativity. Odegaard gave us 3 goals last year. 3 Premier League goals as the starting attacking 10 for Arsenal Football Club. Not good enough. Just for context, Ethan Monieri, who played 800 and something minutes, subpar minutes, scored 4 goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so go on.
I'm sorry, I'm butting in, but it's funny. I just wanted to talk a little about the academic prospects. There I read something about Pedicek and Carlo Cucini. That's how we pronounce his name, right?
Yeah.
They sort of were running the affairs in the club when it came to giving pro contracts to the academic players in Chelsea, right? There was this one player they were talking about, and it just struck a chord with me because when I saw the Ethan Waneri situation, that he is not being given playing time despite playing 31, 32 games last season, which is
Mhm.
good enough for a 17-year-old. Um, but still, given the quality, given the caliber, he obviously is going to get offers from other clubs too. And I think there is a clause in his contract, something like till the time he doesn't really turn 18, you guys can't give him a 5-year extension, which is why Arsenal are still waiting on him to adult, right, in a
Mhm.
way. Um, yeah, so it's just that I think these academic prospects are caught in that transition from reporting to one boss to working for another. And I don't
Mhm.
think Arteta has a say in it, right?
Mhm.
This is how things works in Chelsea. So he was caught in this political storm where um, he was a target of animosity. Carlo Cucini wasn't really being a good mentor to him. This is during Tuchel's time, and Tuchel took him under his wing and told him, "I'll try to give you the maximum playing time." But the
Mhm.
coaches were against it. Imagine it was the coaches versus Tuchel at Chelsea. So I don't see a similar situation with Arsenal. But then looking at what happened with Thomas Partey, what has been going on, the atmosphere doesn't really look that good.
Mhm. Yeah.
So this is something which really struck with me because, bro, Ethan Vaneri was decent enough. He was playing quite well for you guys, and
Mhm.
then Odegaard came back from, he became fit, and then you all of a sudden you see a Vaneri being benched. At least give him some playing time. That's
Yeah.
what I thought. And
Yeah.
I think he won't really take any time to get out of the club and play for another club, is what I feel, even though he wants to stay here and get nurtured.
Yeah. If he, this would be criminal. And this is the one eerie thing for me. It annoys me to the point where there were certain games last year that stood out. If you're a manager, where you give young players an opportunity to play and to develop, and the one that jumps out to my head was when we went PSV away and we beat them 7-1 away. Then we came back to the Emirates and we're 7-1 up, UD. 7-1 up, and we're playing at home and the kid can't touch the grass. I'm like, if he can, and with all the injuries that we had last year, the Saka to Odegaard, the opportunities were there for him to play. And the manager still elected to play Sterling over him. He played Martinelli on that wing. He seemed like he would completely shift the team around. Just not, and it's just a weird one. And if I'm Ethan Nwaneri at this stage of my development, and I see the manager do that, I would be reluctant to commit my future to this manager. I would, without some kind of assurance. Now, I'm sure the kid is not saying I demand to start every game. He has no right to do that. You're an 18-year-old kid, but he has some grievance to say. I need to play more than 800 minutes over a 38 game season and 10, 11 Champions League games and EFL Cup games and all this. When my output was better than the captain who only scored 3 Premier League goals. But yeah, I mean, yeah, great point though. Big up to Ritin Gandhi saying Gyokeres is a good buy, in my opinion. I think it's a good buy. I mean, there's the striker market is scarce these days. And when someone, regardless of the league, when someone scores 50 something goals in all competition, you will get my attention. Because if he was playing in that bad league in the Portuguese league and wasn't scoring like this, then people would beat him with that stick. Be like, bro, you're playing in that dead league and you can't score that many goals. And I'm of the opinion that if we switch him with Kai Havertz and we
Yeah.
put Kai Havertz in that Portuguese league, Kai Havertz doesn't score 50 something goals. And if it was that easy, everyone in that Portuguese league would be doing it. So, big up to BX Gunner. Emphasis on here and there, always a project with Arsenal. And I don't want Madueke nowhere part of this project. Now, the Madueke thing, man. Do you rate Madueke as a winger?
Yeah, that's a pretty. I mean, I would need to actually base it on positives and negatives. I can't really give you a straight on answer. I think holistically, I think the guy has massive capabilities of becoming a good winger. I wouldn't really call him a striker because he is an out and out winger. Um, I think for Arsenal, you guys are actually looking for a versatile person on the flanks, which is
Mm-hmm.
why you've been scouting for Madueke. And Gabriel Martinelli is not a person who can actually play comfortably on tugging the byline. He likes inverting a lot, and that's where
Mm-hmm.
he usually um, gets into traffic. But Madueke, if you actually look at his carries, he's been quite progressive, and he likes the defender coming out. He takes them on, and then he loves getting into the central spaces, right? And he's two-footed in a way, right? Um, I've seen games where he's beaten the likes of Milenkovic, Murillo, uh, right, with Nottingham, with Brighton. He's taken care of good teams uh, in the on a lower level, like Brighton, Aston Villa, you know, and Nottingham and etc. But what I see from Madueke on a consistent level isn't good enough, right? That's where the negative creeps in.
Hmm. Big
Yeah.
up to the team, man. You got a big fan here, bro.
He's a fan of the show. He actually works with me
Okay.
on my regional channel, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, big
Yeah,
up to you. Yeah, yeah. UD is amazing. Loudmouth Football. People, make sure you are subscribing to Loudmouth Football. His name is in the title of the video. This man is a Liverpool fan, makes great content. I don't know your TikTok handle and all that stuff, but I'll make sure I put that in the
yeah,
title as well when we wrap up. So
yeah.
Gyokeres is a gooner. Hey, Luca, like someone earlier in the chat said, until he's holding up the shirt, let's let's we'll keep our powder dry until he's holding up the shirt, because I think there is one more twist in this entire Sesko / Gyokeres saga, because Arsenal just seems to love drama. BX Gunner says Ethan is seeing other younger players excelling under other managers and has to deal with Blunderman. Yep, there's something there, because Ethan plays with flair. He expresses himself. He drops his shoulder, runs at his man. It seems like Arteta is more impressed with controlling possession, recycling the ball, the Jack Grealish effect, right? I think that's the
Yeah,
only
because
thing
I've
he actually
noticed even
on.
Bukayo Saka was quite comfortable on the outward carries, and Bukayo Saka, to be honest, has similar traits. Not exactly similar, of course, he has better finesse than Madueke in a way, but then similar to what Madueke does when he's trying to come into the box. I think
Mm,
Arteta wants the same effect on the left side of the flank.
mm,
Is where I see it coming. Maybe why you are actually going in for Madueke, but the bias for always getting a player from their end is something which is unnerving. Like,
yeah.
that's something really I really want to know from you. Like, why is it that Arsenal and Chelsea have such a strong link season on
Right.
season?
I
Yeah,
hate it. I hate it.
yeah,
We should be rivals. These men took Premier Leagues off of us. The year we won
that's
Invincibles, that man came and took the Premier League and retained it. And yeah, it's just too friendly for me. But Madueke, Yudi, he gives me Jeremy Doku vibes, man. Like he'll get by his man, but then he'll kick the ball out the stadium, or he'll overhit the pass, or he'll underhit the pass, or he'll
yeah,
do one too much step overs and then hit the pass late. And by the time the runner's offside, the final product is not there. And Arteta seems to have this insatiable appetite where he can fix dead players, and it has to be
yeah.
dead players from Chelsea that he's going to take on and turn my football club into a charity. And I don't like it, bro. I don't we can't, if we were going to these other clubs and taking their best players off of them, I'd be calm with it. But we're going to these clubs and we're taking players that they're pushing out, because remember, Chelsea had overloaded with their front line. Remember, they signed Yao Felix, him, Mudrick, and all these other men. Now they've signed Gittins and Yao Pedro. So they've attacked their forward line. They've bolstered their forward line so well.
Yeah.
And now, okay, Madueke, you don't fit in our plans anymore. We have outgrown you. Now we're going to send you to Arsenal. You don't want to leave London, but yeah, we'll keep you in London. You'll get a pay raise over there, and you don't have to change houses. You don't have to change your address. Just change football clubs. I don't like it, man. It's just too convenient. Big up to Box Gunner again, says Chelsea link shouldn't have existed at this moment in time. Thanks to Arteta, we're having these conversations. Absolutely criminal. Yeah, it's the Madueke links. Clearly, I don't think Andrea Berta has nothing to do with this. I think this is 100% Arteta. It seems as if Arteta wanted Sesko, Arteta wanted Madueke, and Berta was like, "Now you get one. You get one of them, and either you get Sesko and someone else, or you get Madueke and I'll go get someone else." And it seems as I've read a report now that Berta actually wanted Gyokeres at Atletico, and then the club vetoed his decision to win and got Julian Alvarez, and that's where the fallout came, why
Yeah,
he ended up leaving. So, you
yeah.
know, yeah, it's a big up
But
to
there's also another
LCB.
thing, right? I'm
Go on.
sorry, I'm butting in again.
Come
I
on, you
think
good.
Madueke comes in from that philosophy where football was played more freely, right? He comes
Mm,
from Netherlands in a way, right? Even though he started with Tottenham, the academy, but played with PSV for quite some time. I think Arteta might give your attackers a little bit more freedom going forward, because I think, of course, he's a manager. He must have realized on the basis of the analytics of
Mm,
what is forthcoming, what is expected. Because in a way, Arsenal were found out. It was easy. Like Saka's gonna pass the ball to Odegaard. If you
yeah,
guys are trying to channel from the right,
yeah,
trying to find the striker or trying to take a shot from there, just put a block. That's what Liverpool. That's why Liverpool hit a conundrum back in 17, 18, 18, 19 in a few games when people started saying that they've been spamming crosses into the box to find Firmino, but he's unable to convert, right? And that wasn't even a problem. People were hating on Liverpool,
yeah.
right? Even though things were working for us, we were just not able to score for those set of goals. So I think Arteta, honestly, I think you might be Arteta out, but I am sure there is a fix. There's a way out for him to find the right solution. And I think
Mm.
he can do it. I think he has the capacity to do it.
You think Arteta has the capacity to do it?
I think so. I've been giving it a lot of thought. And trust me, my demons are fighting this narrative, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, why would you finish second? You tell me that. In amongst a pool of 20 teams, season on season, why would you finish second?
Mm.
You know, that's what I kept asking myself.
The one of the hardest leaps in football is to go from second to first, right?
Yeah,
Man United have plenty of room to improve. They can improve 10 spots and not be in the top four, right? So, but the jump to move from second to first against one team in UMan or in City is difficult. Now we're competing with both of you because I really think UMan are going to rack up a lot of points next year, right? Um, I don't think Arteta is. I don't think he has the tactical nous in those close games to make tactical adjustments. He doesn't figure out things quickly enough, right? And on August 17th, as bad as they are, Ruben Amorim is going to give him a problem at Old Trafford, and I don't trust him to solve that problem because he couldn't solve it last year. I saw Graham Potter came to the Emirates with West Ham and gave him a problem. He couldn't solve that. I've seen the young German guy at Brighton give him a problem. He couldn't solve that. I've seen Iraola from Bournemouth give him problems home and away, and he couldn't solve that. Right. So when against the big teams, when he relies on his defense, and it has worked out for him over the years because we have a trust our defense. But when it's time for us to go attack these teams with low blocks, he just hasn't shown me that he has the tactical know-how to break down those teams. And I don't want to hear anything about low blocks. Jurgen Klopp
yeah,
faced low blocks the entire time he was in England, and he solved them. Pep
he
has
did
faced
solve
low
them. Yeah,
blocks.
but we did struggle, right? We had
Mm,
a phase of struggling over there too. Like tactical nous is something which you need, bro. Like when it comes to breaking low blocks, even
mm,
Pep was able to do that, right? I don't think even City, when they were strikerless, they were able to do it. Imagine Kevin De Bruyne or a Bernardo Silva would be filling in that false nine role. Like their rotation was so intricate to their regimen. It worked so well for them. I think
mm.
Arteta is just a tad bit short of reaching to the top. But there are managers, there are footballers who always regret not being able to get across the line. And I think Arteta, he's got major decisions to make.
Yeah. Big up to Gandhi against us. Now as Kepa in your team, are you chasing the UCL this season? I tell you what, Kepa wasn't the missing piece. Kepa was not the reason. Raya or our goalkeeper wasn't the reason why we didn't beat PSG. It's just because we huffed and puffed for 20 minutes in Paris, and then after PSG absorbed that, we had nothing else. We had absolutely nothing else to
Yeah.
get at him. So yeah, I don't think Arteta just doesn't know how to coach a free flowing attack, and that's the only thing that can give PSG problems. Because even at Anfield, Liverpool, you man, they scored early, but for the rest of the game,
Yeah,
you outplayed PSG. Just gonna score.
correct.
Donnarumma just had just made himself threw his name in the best goalkeeper in the world conversations or during that Champions League run. We don't
Bro,
have that.
yeah,
Go
I
on.
just wanted to ask you one question about Declan Rice, right? I know I'm just like skipping the conversation,
No, you're
but
good, bro. It's good.
Zubememdi,
Mhm.
Zubememdi, now being a gooner, right? Playing next to Declan Rice in a way. How do you see that working out? And is Arteta entrusting Declan Rice with that number 8 role? Like just going ahead, take a shot at it, to see where it lands. Like, is that a risk in your opinion? Because I remember a few seasons back when Rice signed with Arsenal, when he was in West Ham. He dreamt of playing in that number 8 advanced role. He said, I have the capabilities, I'm working on it. Right. And now I think this season too, Rice is in a way given that free role of surging ahead, crushing the box, trying to help the situation and all that. So what do you feel about that?
I actually prefer Declan Rice in the 6, actually. I think
Yeah.
Declan Rice does his best work with our defense. We have two of the best center backs in the league. Timber, I rate Timber highly, and our fullbacks I'm calm with. I believe if we put Declan Rice in front of them to protect that back forward, give cover there, and then to the left of Declan and to the right of Declan needs to be players who are attacking minded. I think Declan, when Man City came to the Emirates last year, if you look at the extended highlights for that game, Man City could not play out of their half because Declan Rice was pressing everything that they tried to play. Even the goal that Odegaard scored when Havertz crossed it to him, that was Declan Rice pressing Akanji and winning the ball from him. He has an engine; he can go box to box easily. I just don't think he has in the touch in the tight spaces on the half turn. Like Thiago. Right,
Yeah.
Thiago was just so press resistant. Like he would drag you out of position with one touch. Declan doesn't have that touch, but
He doesn't know.
he has an incredible work rate. He can strike the ball. I mean, I'm fun with him in the 8, but I think he gives you more in a defensive posture. But with
But that
Zubememdi, go on.
but imagine if you compare him to Xhaka. I think Xhaka was a man with lesser attributes in a footballer sense, right? Not in terms of leadership and all.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
still, I think Xhaka flourished in that 8 role too when he was supporting Martinelli on the left flank in a way, right? And I just feel like Arteta is following the Pep Guardiola rulebook of inverting the fullbacks always, right? Forgetting the fact that how essential it is to have an overlapping presence on the flank, supporting someone like Martinelli. Maybe that is why he's struggling.
Yeah.
What is the problem? What is the point of causing too much chaos in the middle of the pitch than doing something lucrative on the flanks? Is my question.
Yeah. I hear it, and this comment from Board 10 is what I was alluding to with Declan Rice. He's just not creative enough against low blocks in that left center mid. Like I do believe that modern day football has evolved into the 8 not being as creative as it used to be. Like I prefer a creative midfield. I prefer more creativity in my left 8. Like for example, I think Thiago was a great example, but a guy like Vitinha who's all over the pitch for PSG, right? That's the kind of profile that I expect from a left 8 or a right 8 either. But our left side is a problem because our Odegaard just primarily operates on the right hand side with Saka and Timber and Ben White, and it makes it complicated for us to create anything on the left hand side because Martinelli isn't a winger that can get by his man on a consistent basis. He dribbles with his head down. But yeah, you had that to Declan's lack of creativity on that side is one of the reasons why our attack is lopsided. That's why I think Rodrigo or Rafael Leao, someone who actually forces teams to keep defenses honest, because if they overload on Saka, one diagonal switch and you have a one-on-one with Rodrigo or a one-on-one with Leao and can cause problems for defenses. But yeah, man, I think Declan does his best work protecting a back four versus in a creative capacity. Big up to Tony Guna TV, my brother, all the way from Nigeria.
Bro,
Hope you're enjoying your
if it
vacation.
wasn't for Rice advancing to that number 8, I think he would have never taken those free kicks which he did against Real Madrid.
Yeah. And I mean, he's our designated corner taker, and he's been set pieces delivered into the box, but he is going towards direct shots and goal. No one knew he had that in his locker to that capacity. So that's the dimension that he has in his game. Now, if Declan Rice improves going into this his third season with us and gives us more creativity in the left 8, I'm calm. If he gives us 8 and 8, giving me 16 GA, I'm cool with it. Given that we're gonna have a striker now, but big up to Board 10 again, says our ceiling is kept by Rice in the 8. That's not gonna change if he's still in the 8 next season. Yeah, he is. Yeah, 8 needs to. I think Eze in a creative 8, would actually, make our attack much more free flowing. Too many back passes, side passes. You have to force the defense to make a mistake. If you have if you have a defensive triangle of Rice, Saliba, and Gabriel, no one is getting inside that triangle. Yeah, so let him protect the back four, and then you put attacking players in front of him. But yeah, it's one of them ones. But bro, other transfer news. Your favorite football club, your biggest arch rivals, your nemesis, they have a big problem over there, right? It seems like they have a whole bunch of players that no one wants, right?
Yeah.
Rashford, Anthony, Sancho. I'm hearing that Cunha has already taken the number 10 shirt off
Yeah.
Rashford. So that clearly he's not going. He is out of there, right? There is no way he goes back and wear another number. That's like someone taking the armband off you. You a local born Manchester kid, and someone comes in and just take the number. Like, where does he end up?
There's only one and only one club that is in pursuit of Rashford. That is Barcelona.
Yeah,
But the
they made it this
situation,
funny. They don't want him.
the the weird part to it is that they can't even register players. And what are all these rumors all about? Like, they've been rumored with Luis Diaz. They've been rumored with Rashford. Right? They were trying to sign close down on Nico Williams. Like, what is happening with all this?
Say again, Woody.
Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned three players. Barcelona are being linked with all these players, but the fact that they can't really register anyone unless they let go of someone on a professional contract. What are they actually doing? What are the rumors all about? It doesn't really make any sense to me because they can't register any player right now.
Yeah, I mean, if he can start a couple of games in and out the squad at Villa, like he goes to Barcelona, he's gonna have less playing time because
Yeah,
they have Rafinha and Lamine Yamal on the wings, right? Because he's made it clear that he doesn't prefer to play the striker. He prefers to come off the wings. He's not playing over Rafinha or Barcelona. Like Rafinha has his name in Ballon d'Or shouts this season. You know what I'm saying? So
you did.
yeah.
Imagine watching Rafinha play on the right wing under Bielsa and Leeds, who supported Bramford really well, by the way, right? To watching him play on the left for Barcelona and being in the Ballon d'Or shout. I think he's traveled a long way. He's done
Yeah.
really well for himself. But at the same time, imagine if a Rashford goes to Barcelona. I think it'll be a boon for them because Rashford can play as a nine or on the left. Rafinha is being deemed to, um, you know, practice more as a false nine edition if it comes to Leva not being a backup striker because of his age. Right. So you have versatility when it comes to Rashford and this guy Rafinha. But at the same time, I seriously don't know how they actually work their transfers out. It is such a complicated process. I think we need to have an accountant on the show to know to break the financial constraints down. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
Yeah, so Barcelona, they've done this many, many times. When the entire transfer window, you hear Barcelona is broke, they have no money, and all of a sudden they sign Lewandowski, they sign this guy, that guy, and then you find out that they did a Chelsea and they sold some of their TV rights,
Yeah,
and some of their royalties to this company and that company. They always figured out a way. They've always figured out a way. But let me. Andy says he wanted to ask about the Mascara signing. Well, we haven't signed him yet, and I haven't seen enough of Valencia for me to even make a fair assessment. From what I hear, he's pretty good. With the club, probably was looking at him before because they know that Tamiyasu was being released because he's just too injury prone. And yeah, we do need cover for Saliba. So I mean, it's calm. I was just annoyed that we were more linked with more defensive players going into the window when we weren't addressing our striker weakness. But between Rashford, Anthony, and Sancho and Garnacho, now I'm hearing that Garnacho and Chelsea, here's Chelsea going again, are talking about a swap deal between Nkunku and Garnacho. Like Nkunku, like he is, and this is another thing, Yudi, when we talk about Sesko and people pretending like there's not a Bundesliga tax. I'm adding Nkunku to that list. I've added Kai Havertz to that list, who banged in Germany and didn't bang in the Prem. I'm adding Timo Werner to that list. And Nkunku's on that list because he was banging at Leipzig as well. And he has come to the Premier League and has been off the boil, way off of it.
yeah. I think players with the temperament need to be need an ego massaging at all times. In a way,
Mm,
they need to be started game on game. They need game time. And Kunku, the situation with him is too many players in one squad, right? And he never really got that consistent string of games. I remember he's only played 3, 4 games on the go, and then he was
mm,
benched or he got injured. It does take a toll on you. We actually don't realize how deep it can be for a player to get injured. Like
mm.
it takes a toll on you mentally, physically, physiologically too, right? But Nkunku, in my opinion, is a tremendous baller. His ball control, I rate him for that a lot. I think he has a really sharp IQ when it comes to it. But yeah, he can envision slightly better than what he used to. I think when it comes to Premier League, adapting to the way a line of defense will be approaching you is what he needs to understand, is what I've seen in his game. Like when it comes to link up opportunities too, I think he's been selfish at times just to impress the manager, maybe. But yeah, the Nkunku conundrum still persists in a way, but I'm sure he'll do better at another club. I think the aura around him is not right for him, probably because the competition for that position is just too tight.
What
Yeah.
do you think his best position is?
Look, I think he's a number 10, honestly,
Mm,
and we don't really have a predominant number 10 playing
mm,
in this position. But I still think he can do well as a left inside forward, is what I feel, you know.
like a second striker type of
Yeah.
deal.
Like a shadow
Oh,
striker.
no, okay, yeah, I hear it. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be like they've signed Gittins, they've signed João Pedro, and
Yeah.
Chelsea annoy me, man. Chelsea just annoy me because Chelsea already had two strikers on their books, right? They had Jackson and Gui or Gui, whatever his name is, the Spanish kid. Even
Yeah.
Brozier, people forget like Brozier is back on their books now because Brozier is on loan. They might have three strikers on their books, and they have still signed two strikers in this window, and my club was still dragging their feet. So this is why I was annoyed. I'm not just a angry guy on YouTube at where my football club is moving. It's just like when I look at 2 plus 2 always equals 4, and Arsenal just seems to want to turn it into a damn quadratic equation and not make it make sense. We just don't make sense of it. But yeah, man, the Rashford thing, the Rashford and the Sancho thing is one of the problems we're going to find ourselves in with a player who's out of form, like Havertz and Jesus on economically unattractive contracts, making massive money, and no other only Premier League clubs can afford these wages, and Premier League clubs aren't really inclined to take on these big wages from flops from rivals, and it's going to be long for them. Boyette said,
It
surely
just
we
it
can
just
sign a player from Barca. Go on.
it just hit me that there's
Mm,
a solution around this Barcelona, the facade that they are trying to pull up, right? Uh, I
why not?
think if he actually comes on a loan, Rashford, I think they can actually sign him on a loan and give him some playing time, because I remember there's a clause for a loanee. You can actually give them cap their minutes if you're not registering them for a specific amount of time, and he's not going to be permanent. I think there is a loophole there. So I think,
Mm,
yeah, they might be going in for a loan. You never know. For Rashford, yeah. For
yeah,
Luis Diaz, bro, that's not happening. I don't know from where do these rumors come in from. Luis Diaz is not leaving the club. He
mhm.
won't leave the club. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he won't. He not, at least not this season. He wouldn't do bad. He wouldn't do this to Liverpool in a way. Now you need to understand the emotional construct has stepped in. Like this
Mhm,
has never happened in the club's history in modern day football,
mm,
where you've lost such a young footballer. I'm sure emotionally they might be in titters and tatters right now. For them to actually even think about. I know when it comes to your work, your professional life, it is not about that. But trust me, when it comes to playing football, it is not just about this being your job. It is about your livelihood, your the social part of your life. It's all about football. For these guys, they ended up playing FIFA, FC 25, FC 24, like people like Diogo Jota, right? Connecting with people online. This was his life, right? Apart
mm,
from his 3 kids and his wife. For Luis Diaz, too, I see him doing a lot of that. Just there's a camaraderie, element of camaraderie, a lot of chemistry within the club is why I feel that it's so tough for
mhm,
even managers like Jurgen Klopp to let go of these players. Why was why did Michael Edwards leave Liverpool? Because of this, the loyalty part of Jurgen Klopp, that he just stuck his guns with all these players,
Yeah.
right? I still feel that persists, and I think Luis Diaz is never leaving the club, not at least not for a season or two. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Big up to Dal from the Oregon Gooner. Big up to the Latvian Gooner as well. Big up everyone is good. Big up to Why Not. He's bigging up you, man. Like you. Yeah, man. Big up, man. Appreciate the love in the chat. Appreciate it always. Zuby on the Arsenal website looks like Mourinho was worth it. Yeah, so he brought his little friend over to the club, which is calm. Which is calm. You know, it's a good one. But as far as transfers go, I think Liverpool have done extremely well this window. Like, what would you rate your window from a 0 to 10?
if relatively, I would rate it 7 out of 10 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. This is relative, right, to what is happening in the league. But yeah, if you talk about Liverpool solely, I think a 9 out of 10, to be honest. But see, our performances will directly be proportional to what you all do in the league, right? Come on, let's be honest about that. I think this is going to be a massive threat to Liverpool. Reindeers, Cherky, Gyokeres, and Zubememdi. Liverpool are going to start moving again, I feel, and they need to move quick. Sign two goalkeepers, right? I think we are looking into a defender, Castello or
So you're
Castuba,
looking into the guy from Crystal Palace.
Lukeba, the left-footed defender
Mm.
from, I think he plays in the Portugal league, and yeah, we're looking at a midfielder too. So I don't know about Etikite and Isak, a bit too far-fetched for now, but yeah, I think we still have 1.5 months to go.
Is the are the Kanate links are the Kanate things has that been sorted, or he's trying to leave
I
for them?
think that's going to subside. I think these rumors do persist. Even with Zubememdi, bro.
Mm,
Remember when Real Madrid, the rumors came out of nowhere?
mm,
He had already agreed personal terms with Arsenal back in March.
yeah.
So it's just the media being stupid.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, he's been linked with PSG, right? Ibu,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Konate is being linked with
Yeah,
PSG.
but PSG actually have pulled now. They have a they have improved their presence. They have a little bit
Yeah,
about them now, right?
they
They're
do.
running away with this FIFA World Cup. They won the Champions League in dominant fashion. Right? They beat every single English team. If they face Chelsea in the final this year, that would be like the fifth or sixth English team they've slapped up this year. He's French. It's a World Cup year. If he throws a stink at Liverpool, I don't think Arne Slot will hesitate not to play him. Arne Slot has shown that he knows how to manage. Like
For sure, for
yeah,
sure.
if you're not with the team, and he has earned that right now. Like, oh, and I can sit you down and play a place. I promoted an academy kid and play him. I think players going into this season will have one eye on this season, but they'll also have one eye on next summer.
They do.
And
But
as far
you
as
talk
like
about playing time for the World Cup too, right? Look at the playing time for the World Cup. These guys are looking at that too. Will Konate go to a PSG and compete for that position when we already know that William Pacho and Marquinhos, the wet, they're already cemented in those positions? Or would he prefer staying at Liverpool where he knows he's going to get primal 11 action as long as he's fit, right? Look at that context. And for Konate, I agree. He's French, and PSG have developed a good brand pull out of nowhere. Um, and it's also primarily because they've stopped catering to all these superstars and egos and all that
Yes.
bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a reason too. So you're right.
Yeah.
It's a good pull. It's a grave pull, in fact, but I don't think it'll happen this season. Yeah.
Yeah. And that actually applies to the Rashford thing as well. If he was to do a loan to Barcelona where his minutes are capped, your
Yeah.
minutes are capped. You're probably not going to get selected for the World Cup squad. You need to be playing heavy minutes at a big club, and I think that's the hope that Arsenal fans are holding on to right now with this Rodrigo thing, because he's not been playing. He started one game at the Club World Cup, and every other game he's been coming on. He's been getting 5 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and I don't think Carlo rates him that highly. Carlo is the one who played him out of position at Madrid in the first place, and now Carlo is managing Brazil. I think for him to get into that Brazil squad, he needs to give Carlo a selection headache. He needs to go to a club that's playing at the highest level, and he needs to play well and get a lot of minutes, because Rafinha, Vinicius. You know how Carlo loves Vinicius. So Vinicius will start for Brazil. Rafinha will start for Brazil. One of those wings, he has for him to make one of those positions his own, he may have to push for
You
a
know,
move. Just
bro, it's funny enough. Like you mentioned Rashford, right? And England, right? I still feel like that train has passed.
mm,
I think for him to actually find his 2 feet, he'll have to compete with the likes of Anthony Gordon, Eberche Eze. You have a Morgan Rogers who can play on the left. You have a Jack Grealish who's not anywhere in the scene right now. But bro,
mm,
you have 4 players competing for the same position. Add Phil Foden into the list,
mm.
right? I don't think Rashford is a concern anymore for the nation, and especially with a manager like Thomas Tuchel, bro,
Mm.
not happening.
Yeah, I hear it, but I think he knows that this if he doesn't make this World Cup, he'll never play for England. He'll probably get another cap in like a Nations League game or those other games. But as far as World Cups go, this may be your final shot at a World Cup. And if that means something to him, he has to find a club that plays him a lot of minutes. And right now, the problem he has, the clubs that want to play him can't pay him. And the clubs that can't
So
pay him don't want to play him.
you tell me. I think it's more again when it comes to being too emotional pertaining players like Rashford, Harry Kane. I understand Harry Kane, but for Rashford, bro, maybe 6 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. Okay, I'm giving him a lot of leeway here. Okay, maybe 3 years ago, I would have said, okay, people should entrust. They should have some faith in Rashford. But now people telling us that it's so essential for them to have a Harry Maguire and a Rashford. By the way, Harry Maguire had a tremendous season. I think he was United's best player. Anyhow,
Yeah,
I still feel that this is not what they should be basing their assessment on. It should be
mhm.
on the basis of merit.
Right.
Rashford, no way, bro. He's not entering that squad. You need to be cutthroat about these decisions, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Rashford, no way. Maguire, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at John Stones, bro. John Stones doesn't even get an opportunity over there anymore. You have a Mark Gahey stepping up,
yeah,
right? You have so many other defenders too.
yeah. And speaking of John Stones, that's the area where I actually think you, as a Liverpool, have the advantage over City because I don't think Man City defense is nowhere near the levels that your defense is. Their defense can be got at. We saw Al Hilal cut through these men, put four past them. Al Hilal is not scoring 4 goals on Liverpool any day of the week. No time. So I think Ruben Diaz has regressed. John Stones, yeah, I think you have an advantage there.
They have a
Even with the
Kanji.
Turkeys and
They've
the
got
other,
Manu and Kanji.
he hasn't played well. He hasn't played well this world these past couple of games, couple of months. But yeah, I think Liverpool's as I think you can match them going forward. Your midfield is class. You've added to it, and your defense is better. So right now, I'd give the edge.
I think you're being too generous, and I'm telling you this. I think Arsenal's gonna step up this season. Liverpool, bro, we literally. I spoke about Van Dijk and Salah. I
Mm,
think they're gonna regress from now on. I'm being very realistic about this. I'm not going to be one of those top Reds coming up
mhm.
loud saying that, oh, you know what, Salah's going to deliver another season, 40 goals and assists plus. That is
Yeah,
not happening, bro. If it happens, I'll be really happy. I would
yeah.
love to be proved wrong, but it isn't happening. Let's be honest about it.
And
And
if
I,
Van Dijk,
I I don't know why do you rate our defense so high. I think we've made some absolute howlers at the back, right? Absolute howlers. I don't know. Like,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
I rate it highly because every Premier League team wanted Kirkins. Every Premier League team wanted Kirkins, and I think an 80% Van Dijk is still better than most of the center backs in the Premier League. But the experience that he has, look at the quality, just the experience and the know-how. It speaks volumes, bro. We see Thiago Silva at 40 years old in the semifinal of the Club World Cup. You know what I mean? He is class, and I
yeah,
still think you got the best goalkeeper.
yeah. But
People who used to beat up Trent for he's only good going one way. Well, now Frimpong is a very good defender. Yeah, and he
correct.
and he,
But
he doesn't lack going forward either. So, like if you don't want to be the top red and gloat about your team, I'll do it for you. Yeah,
but
I
I'll tell
think
you one thing. Do you see the difference here? The reason why Thiago Silva is still playing well is because he was always a great stopper.
mm,
Van Dijk was always a great interceptor and a
right
reader.
facts.
Thiago Silva, and was a great stopper. For Van Dijk to become a great stopper, he needs to change his defensive game.
Yeah.
In situations where you need aerial prowess, Van Dijk has stepped up, no doubt about that. But why was Thiago Silva so crucial to Chelsea, even at that age, 37, bro? Because of that trait, you know? Um, and I just feel like we need more signings, is what it is. But yeah, you're right. We do strike a balance with Gyokeres and Frimpong because Frimpong is defensively little sus, but
Mhm.
Gyokeres gives you that balance too. So in a way, let's see what is forthcoming. I have no idea what we're gonna see this season. Unlike what happened last season too, bro. I
Yeah.
I was I was praying to God that at least we should finish in the top four before the season started. Yeah, imagine. That was what I was thinking. New manager, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
Jurgen's out, what is going to happen?
Yeah, but that was a very fair and honest assessment to make, because most Liverpool fans that I talked to had Liverpool finishing third last year, which is fine, because if you rate Jurgen Klopp as one of the top managers in the world, which he is, and then he leaves, there should be a drop off there. It should be. There should be a drop off there. So that was the perfectly logical take. But it also proves that all these managers who are in the Premier League talking about they need to adjust to it, Arne Slot just blew their excuses out the water. But like, no, I'm good. If you're a good manager and you have a decent enough squad,
Yeah.
you can get enough out of the squad to win. Big up to Why Not. So, yeah, it says midfield and defense for Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool defense, man. That damn, I think Allison saves you at least 10 points by himself per season, bro.
Oh, easily. You're right. Even
Yeah,
Kelleher, he used to do
yeah,
the same for us.
yeah. I think Allison is just class there. VVD, man, his positioning is, when you lose your speed, your positioning becomes so important, and he reads the game so well. He
Yeah.
hardly ever makes a mistake, man. But big up to him.
Like,
Yeah,
he's one of those defenders who loves backpedaling.
yeah,
When he has an opportunity to put a feet out there, he wouldn't do
mhm,
that. He
yeah,
wants to backpedal because he wants to frustrate the striker. Similar
mhm,
to what happened to Holland against Van Dijk. That game
mhm,
was frustrating for him because he was just backpedaling, and BVD is so good at reading situations.
yeah,
But that has regressed in a way. Like in this season, I've seen it. And imagine the guy went through an ACL, bro,
yeah,
and people were deeming him to be out of it. Like they're like, oh, 2 season wonder, just
yeah,
like Salah, 1 season wonder, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I'm glad he proved everyone wrong.
yeah. Yeah, I think you said he might regress next year, but he's not going to fall off of a cliff. He might drop 5-10%, but
Yeah,
that's still good enough. I think Salah will drop a little bit, 5-10%, but he still will give you 20 Premier League goals. I just think he's that. You better Berta, you better believe it. Okay, big up to AFC always, but brother UD, we just
yeah,
made it over an hour, my bro. I
yeah.
so appreciate you for coming on, man. Tell the people where they can find you and what you got coming up on your platform, my bro.
Yeah, just hit me up on Loudmouth Football.
Mhm.
I'm on YouTube, on Insta. You can hit me up anytime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
pleasure
Absolutely,
coming on
man.
the show,
Absolutely.
discussing transfers with you.
Yeah.
Arsenal specifically, I'm telling you, things are looking positive. You've seen me talking shit about the team because
Mhm.
the things weren't looking good for you. But
Yeah.
now, bro, today is a good day. Today is a new day. It's a new dawn.
It's a new dawn with the same manager. The same manager. And I don't trust him. Big up to AFCO. It only took Arteta 1,000 days to replace Aubameyang. 1,000 days and 8 transfer windows, my bro. 8 transfer windows to replace the striker. It's a mad one. But yeah, man, I appreciate Loudmouth Football coming on and sharing his football knowledge with us today, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, it won't be his last time on BBK Sports. You will be hearing from this young man again because he has a lot to say, a lot of great opinions. So make sure you are subscribing to Loudmouth Football. Follow him on TikTok and all socials. Take care of yourselves, people, and each other. Until next time, we are gone.